Hello, and welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for July of 2023. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
And I'm Julia Mijas, and I'm in San Francisco, California.
Let's take a look at what's happening this month for you. Well, Libra, Ceres has been traveling through your sign and has spent altogether quite a bit of time in your sign this year so far. You might have heard me talk in your horoscopes in the last couple of months about Ceres going retrograde and bringing us into a financial rebalancing period. And that might have felt pretty personal because Ceres is sitting here in your first house when she went retrograde. But now I've got great news for you. Not only is Ceres direct, finally done with her retrograde period, and that actually happened back in May, but since then she's proceeded through the end of Virgo, and by the middle of July, right here on the 15th, Ceres has returned to and is departing from the point at which she turned retrograde. So it is over. It is so completely over, and any messes and tangles, especially in the realm of your health routines and how you take care of your body and how you eat and your body image, and also money and how you support yourself and how valuable you feel and worthy in the world. Like if that stuff has been up in your face, it's all stuff you can put to bed now, and whatever balance that you have now, you can come away knowing that this is pretty much a good to go area for the rest of the year. So pretty good stuff there. Now, Juno is traveling along through Cancer, and here she is in your 10th house. The 10th house is a pretty busy arena this month. Juno is an asteroid goddess to do with partnership, particularly committed relationships. That can mean a spouse or a long-term relationship or even a business partner. Right now, she's showing up in your 10th house, where she's traveling through for about 2 months, and she's about halfway through that. So she's going to be here until the middle of August. And she's really like bringing up all of your most partnerly behavior while she's here, bringing the spirit of collaboration and cooperation and partnership to your career. So this is a really great time to be a partner to a partner and get a good partner that way. And also Juno weaves the fabric of society together. And so she's good at networking and managing teams of people. And if that's a part of your job, this should be a pretty good transit for you these 2 months while Juno is here. And so doing networking in your career or your place of business is a really great thing to do, and very advantaged by Juno passing through your 10th house. And then the last thing I want to tell you about right now is that Chiron is in Aries in your 7th house and is about to go retrograde on the 23rd. Now, Chiron is the wounded healer, and it takes Chiron 7 years to travel through Aries and your 7th house. He's been involved in this for he's in about year 3 or 4 right now. And he's been bringing up a lot of old wounding around anger and assertion, possibly in terms of partnerships that you've been in before with a partner who was a very forceful personality. Chiron might bring up some old wounding around relationships like that from the past. And I'm saying this because Chiron is in the 7th house of relationship for you. And so this can be a powerful time for the healing of those old wounds by triggering them, bringing them up, and giving you an opportunity for a do-over, to assert yourself or push back, hopefully in not too extreme of a way, but to find the right amount of assertion to bring the situation into a healthy balance. And so that you can have more balanced relationships going forward. And it might even be the case that being Libra and sort of the perpetual nice guy, if you will, have a tendency to attract some very strong-willed people into your life. And so this could be the time for balancing that. But don't go crazy. Hey, Julia, what's up with Mars, Mercury, and Venus for the Librans this month?
Hey there, Libra. There is so much going on in your 11th house this month. The 11th house represents your hopes, wishes, and dreams. So essentially, that just means your long-term goals. Not a goal like, I want to get a pizza tonight, but a goal that takes some time to realize, like writing a book or opening a business or getting married or buying a home. And it's also the house of friends, and it's also the house of groups. So anytime you find yourself in a group context, that's totally the 11th house. So Mars, the planet of action and drive, begins the month in your 11th house. Wherever we have Mars, we're really driven, but we can also run into conflict. So at the beginning of the month, you could feel very driven to attaining a goal of yours, really, really pushing yourself, can really get a lot of work done in that direction. You might also be feeling very impulsive about it, just sort of wanting it, impatient is more more impatient, like just kind of wanting it, not waiting so long for it. Now, Mars in the 11th house can sometimes mean that we have to deal with some frustrations in the pursuit of these goals, or it could also mean that we're running into conflict in our friends or in any groups in our life. If you work in a group, if you do any social activities in a group, there might be problems of competition coming up or just disagreements with people of the group. And that includes your friendship circles as well. If you do a group effort this month, that would be a wonderful way to use the Mars energy here. Now, by July 10th, Mars enters your 12th house. This is an isolated place. This is the most diffuse house in the zodiac. It represents your subconscious. It represents service on a compassionate level. It represents the ethereal. And Mars, which is a very direct planet, has a little bit of trouble in this house because this is a very indirect place. It's naturally ruled by Neptune, so, nothing direct about it. But Mars in this house, might have a hard time being assertive, being direct when it's upset about something. And you're more likely to kind of mull it over on your own, get annoyed by yourself, and maybe take indirect actions, not be above board. But definitely try not to do that if you can. Now, Mars in the 12th can be a fabulous transit if you're doing any type of service work, if you're going on any retreats. This could be a great, great time for it, and a great time for any activity that has an almost mind-body connection to it. Like if you were to do Reiki or yoga or meditation and get kind of active with it, or practice acupuncture. Mars rules sharp objects. Maybe you want to learn some acupuncture or get some acupuncture. Great, great time for it. Now, Mercury, planet that rules our mind, is moving fast. So it's going to be in 3 houses this month. It's starting in your 10th house. That's the house of career and life direction, where your mind's really occupied on getting ahead in the world, getting ahead at your job. Maybe you're thinking about changing jobs. Maybe you're doing a lot of writing and communicating at your job. Maybe you have to travel a little bit for work too with Mercury in the 10th. Then by July 10th, Mercury enters your 11th house. This is the house of friends. This is the house of groups. And Mars is leaving just as Mercury's entering. So that's going to help things out with your friendship circles a lot. You could just find that you're trying to communicate a lot more with your friends, or that they're reaching out to you and talking to you via text or email or social media. Mercury in the 11th house is great if you have to speak in front of a group. Really, really nice transit for that, especially if you're in AA or some other recovery program or doing group therapy. This would be a great time for it. Then by July 28th, Mercury moves into the 12th house, where he's going to be joining Mars at the end of the month. So, you're going to be more, keeping your thoughts and ideas to yourself, maybe getting your best thinking from ethereal places. It's a great transit for fantasy writing and also meditation too, definitely by the end of the month with Mercury and Mars in here. Finally, Venus, the relationship planet who represents art, beauty, pleasure, she's in your 11th house from the start, and she's going to be here all month. Now, unlike Mercury, she's not moving fast. She's slowing down a lot because she's about to do a retrograde cycle on the 22nd. But when Venus is in the 11th, she does add a little bit of pleasure to all things 11th house. Maybe you have a little luck in getting closer to a goal, or luck or feel pleasure in pursuing that goal. Or maybe you get benefited by some friends too around this transit. Venus might help soothe over some of Mars's energy in there early in the month. And and you'll definitely get along better with your friends when Mars moves out after the 10th. Now, Venus in the 11th might mean that you're going to really want to just find yourself in groups, not be on your own so much. But by the 22nd, Venus is going to go retrograde in this house. And this is a time of relationship review for everybody, whether you're single or whether you're currently in a relationship. Now, if you are in a relationship, you could be just also reviewing your relationships with your friends. You could also be reviewing how your partner is a friend to you, whether you guys have the same shared goals. And if you don't, are there adjustments that need to be made? And if you're single, then you could be reviewing these types of ideas of what type of shared goals you want with a future partner, or whether you are, rethinking of maybe dating a friend, perhaps, if you have a crush on someone that you're already friends with, or how you can be more friendly or have a better friendship with your next partner if you don't feel like you've had those so much with your previous ones.
So true.
Hi, Jamie here. Horoscopes and moon videos are fascinating, but they're more general than personal. Did you know we run live workshops monthly and that you can get questions answered about your own chart there? This month's topic is harvesting your Jupiter luck, and in it you can find out when is the next time you'll have money luck, career luck, or relationship luck, or even a period of personal charisma that makes you especially persuasive and attractive to opportunity like a magnet. This workshop is expressly for our Tier 2 Patreon subscribers. It's easy to sign up at the Patreon link in the description below. I'd love to see you there. Now let's get back to the video.
Well, for months now, we've been having one moon per month that's really stressful and another moon per month that's really harmonious. But this month, we have two moons that are largely harmonious, which is just great. And I'm so happy to be able to tell you about it. We have the first moon of the month, which is a full moon in Capricorn, and it lands right here in your 4th house, where the moon loves to be. So that's terrific. The moon rules the 4th house naturally, and they share the themes of home and family, of mother and nurture and care and nest and putting down roots. So this is a very domestic moon, and under this full moon, you might want to stay home and be cozy. But because the moon is in Capricorn, there's a sort of a contradictory nature to it. The full moon tends to bring emotions high. They tend to be really strong during a full moon when the moon is opposed to the sun. However, the moon in Capricorn kind of wants to put the clamp down on emotions, wants to restrain and restrict emotions and maybe just keep them to the stuff that's only, appropriate. And so this moon could have you at home in your family context, but being kind of crusty, maybe even a little bit controlling and reserved. And during a full moon, because it features an opposition as the main thing about a full moon, it is an opposition, moon opposed sun. It tends to have a partnership dynamic, and it's pretty common to find that one of the two poles of the moon is one that you can easily identify with, and that the other one ends up getting projected onto a person or situation in your life. And so with the moon being here in the 4th house, if you were to identify with that, then you might feel that that you've got to pull inward and organize some stuff and restrain your emotions, and that you're just not going to be comfortable and emotionally relaxed until things are orderly at home. And yet there might be somebody, and it wouldn't even be surprising if they were at work, and it even wouldn't be surprising if they were your boss, like an authority figure, who responds to you with actually a great deal of warmth and sympathy or emotional needs of their own. And the fact that there is a set of lovely trines and sextiles really helps to smooth this moon out, because it might end up just, with you and this other person or situation just decamping to your separate corners and glaring at each other across the divide. But this little grouping with the sun involving Mercury and Juno just implies so much emotional intelligence and social warmth, and it trines Saturn, which brings in help in the form of authoritative and compassionate wisdom. And also the moon sextiles that, and then the moon trines Jupiter, which also sextiles back to the sun group. And Jupiter brings more wisdom and a very practical groundedness. So there's lots of help really close at hand to help you to reach across that divide to somebody who might feel very needy, as if you've just got to completely defer your own emotions so that you can support them, or might actually be giving you a message that it's okay to be emotional. And wouldn't that be a nice outcome? So then the second moon coming this month is on the 17th. And it's a new moon in Cancer, so it falls right there in your 10th house. And the 10th house, being ruled by Saturn, is a place where we generally have to work for what we get. It is the domain of career. It is the domain of authority. It's the domain of the excellence that we build and the expertise that we have to work hard for. Now, when the moon and the sun get together in a new moon, it's generally a great time for planting seeds. Seeds are planted in darkness. We don't see results from those seeds right away, but they can blossom and bear fruit later. So we have to plant them in a state of trust, not knowing whether they're going to blossom or when, but trusting that some good may come of this. So there's a lot of almost faith involved in a new moon. This one we're calling Brilliant Psychic Insights, because the sun and the moon have this opposition with Pluto, which really amps up the psychism. They also trine Neptune, amping up the psychism further and the intuition. And then they also sextile Uranus. And this is where the brilliant part comes from, because Uranus very readily thinks outside the box and doesn't feel bound by the usual constraints. So one thing to watch out for under this moon is that the opposition to Pluto might bring you into a situation where somebody is, because of a deep-seated feeling of vulnerability that they would rather not express or point to, they might be trying to control the situation, maybe even control you, maybe even control your emotions or your intuitions, or something, along in that vein. And so I think that this is a really great moon for figuring out how to balance these factors, how to react when somebody shuts down your intuition, and how to draw on that intuition to bring that other person the compassion that they need to back off, of you, and let you have what you're feeling, and to let you form that new beginning. So this is the kind of dynamic that can happen across the career home axis when these things fall in the 10th and 4th houses. So look out for that. And then the last thing I want to tell you about is the seasonal change, the sun changing signs. It starts out the month in your 10th house, really lighting up your 10th house arena and bringing a lot of attention to your career and your advancement and your building of expertise. And then the sun on the 23rd moves on into the 11th house, which brings the attention to groups, communities, tribe, and friendship, and networks and networking. Now, wherever the sun goes, We want to shine the sunlight of our high quality attention so that things can thrive and flourish there as they do under actual sunlight. And so this is a really good time for putting attention on your friends, for shining the light of your sunniest disposition onto your friends and into your communities and becoming a shining star in those places. That might mean leadership. It might mean self-expression or creativity in group situations. It might mean bringing praise and playfulness into those group situations. The sun spends about 30 days traveling through any given house. It enters into this house on July 23rd, and this is just such a great time for getting out there and playing and having fun with friends and letting them know how much you enjoy them.
Well, that's all for today. If you love Pandora Astrology's free and informative horoscopes, then please do hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share our horoscopes with your friends.
You can find out so much more about how this month's transits affect you in very personal timing in our monthly Patreon workshops. Find the link in the description below to get started. Enjoy your summer, and until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos.
Bye-bye.